So, guys, we are here for the first episode of Crossover Convos. I'm joined by the other half of Crossover Convos, TheFrostZone. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Here we go. This is the start.
Yeah, the first episode, starting off strong, talking about Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. That is going to be the theme of the first episode.
Yes, we're gonna just get into it. I mean, so first of all, what do you think is the main game plan? What do you think is Tommy Fury's best asset to win this fight? What do you think he
Well,
needs
I
to do?
think Tommy Fury, I've said this in previous videos, but I think Tommy Fury's game plan, I think, is going to go in straight away and try and blast him out.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking Tommy Fury is probably most likely going to do.
yeah, I feel the same way, but I feel like that actually works into Jake's favor.
Yeah, I agree because we know Tommy Fury is not good at defending against the right hand, which is obviously Jake's biggest asset.
Yeah, 100%.
But I
And
feel like
Tommy,
you go, mate.
so I feel like Tommy, his best asset is his jab. He's got a nice young range. We saw him on hit the heavy machine the other day. He got 8-4-1 on the jab.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's got a solid job, yeah.
Yeah, very nice jab.
Yeah, and I think but I actually think they're the same at reach, aren't they? And Jake's just 1 inch taller, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, because you would think Tommy would be able to play it a bit long, but I think the reach is actually the same.
Yeah, but I feel like Tommy can control his jab better than Jake does.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Jake's job's a bit shady.
Yeah, he gets a bit lazy with it.
Yeah. What do you think Jake Paul's plan is gonna be?
Jake, I feel like he's going to try counter punch. He's going to see Tommy's right hand is sometimes yo, or left hand, sorry, is it sometimes yo, and I feel like that's Jake's best asset is his straight jab and then right hand.
Yeah,
We
I
saw he
agree.
knocked out Woodry that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jake's definitely gonna try and play Tommy on to come into a shot.
Yeah, 100%.
Jake's definitely worked on a lot of things, and we know his coach and his team are good, and Jake's got plenty of money to have a good training camp.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah,
going to have a solid plan otherwise. I don't think they would have took this fight if they did think Jake. It would be such a hard fight.
that's the thing. They've clearly seen something in Tommy's game that they feel like they can exploit.
And I
And
feel like Tommy probably doesn't know what that is.
no,
Like I don't
no,
think
no.
Tommy since his last fight. Well, they do claim they have been playing bad to get this fight.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Do you think he was generally playing bad against Anthony Taylor?
Not really, but I do think Tommy didn't show his full potential in that fight.
Yeah,
Because
uh,
Anthony Taylor is awkward in the way he was fighting. It would make it hard to really have a good fight.
yeah. I honestly think Tommy Fury was actually a bit too tall to be able to handle that fight as well as he would have wanted to.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tommy definitely expected he'd go in first round, second round, blast him out, and get the Drake fight.
Yeah, it just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, but Tommy Fury, it is going to be interesting to see how he deals with the pressure. How do you
Yeah,
think he's going to deal with that pressure?
I think we've seen before. I saw an old video the other day of Tommy Fury. This was 2 years ago. He was hitting pads in an open workout, and John Fury was telling him, "Don't worry about the cameras." You know, he kept messing up his combinations. He said, "Don't
Yeah, I
worry about
seen
the
that.
cameras." Yeah. So I'm wondering. I know that was a long time ago, but if Tommy Fury is getting nervous hitting pads in front of cameras, having all this mental pressure on him, it's going to ask a lot of questions of him.
Especially when the pressure just doesn't come from the media, but also his own family.
Yeah, somebody that just
I
send out
mean,
the photos.
they've arguably put the most pressure on him.
Yeah, yeah. Most of the pressures come from the Furies themselves.
Yeah, but do you think Tyson in Tommy's dad is playing into Jake's plan a bit, trying to be nice? And do you think when it comes to the night before the fight, do you think they're going to try maybe getting Jake's head?
I I think they will try getting Jake's head on the fight night. I do believe that. But I do think John Fury needs to take a bit of a step back and let Tommy do the talking. It's not John Fury's fight. He is not
Yeah, I
fighting.
agree. Yeah, because the fight before, obviously Tommy then pulls out. But did you see what John Fury was like at the press conference?
Yeah, yeah.
What he said to Jake Paul was just crazy.
Yeah, John Fury was bringing Jake's girlfriend into it. He was doing all sorts. It was mental.
Yeah, we probably can't mention what John Fury said, like by quote,
No.
but check it out.
No, yeah, we can't say that here.
But do you think Jake is going to feel any pressure? Obviously, Jake's walked out to a bigger crowd and all that before. But do you think because it is Tommy Fury and that Tommy has trained with Tyson and he knows it's been in his bloodline, do you think maybe he will think fight night, what have I done?
I think Jake will feel a bit of pressure for sure. This is the first pro boxer he's fought, and also Tommy Fury being unbeaten. He's still not lost a professional fight. It's just that mindset, isn't it? Going in there fighting someone that doesn't know what it feels like to use.
Well, that's true.
So I do think Jake will feel some pressure. However, I think Jake thrives off pressure better than Tommy does.
Yeah.
So I feel like Jake will feel something, but it's just whether he can overcome it or not.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment because Jake seems like he loves being scrutinized and people not believing in him. But Tommy, on the other hand, when that happens, I feel like he gets more self-doubt.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
But
I think
what
Tommy.
do you... Pardon? You go.
I think Tommy, when it comes to self-doubt and stuff, I mean, we've seen even in his smaller fights and everything, he was always asking the crowd, what did you think of that performance and everything? Did you enjoy that? And so he's obviously wants to be yiked, and it's just whether how he can handle not being always told how good he is or whatever.
Yeah, that is true. Do you think as well with Tommy Fury, obviously he's trained for years, but do you think he really does want to be a boxer? Or do you think he's just doing it because of his family?
I feel like it's one of those. I feel like he wants to make a name for himself, but maybe not because of the right reasons. I think the only reason he wants to box is because he wants to be like Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's because he genuinely wants to make a name for himself. It's because he wants to be like Tyson.
Yeah, because I know obviously Love Island helped him out with views and all that, but I feel like if he genuinely was just focused on boxing, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Love Island to a World Championships, like.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I feel like Tommy. I think Tommy's trying to be more of a celebrity than Tyson is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think Tyson believes Tommy will get the win?
That's a good question. I mean, the way Tyson's speaking, Tyson's saying it's a 50-50 fight. And he's saying it could go either way. So I imagine Tyson thinks Tommy's going to win. I do think that because Tyson's going to know about Tommy's training more than anyone. And I'm not convinced Tyson would let Tommy go ahead in this fight to possibly embarrass the Fury name if he didn't genuinely believe Tommy would win.
Yeah, that is true.
But I also feel like he knows it's not going to be an easy fight, and he knows he knows Tommy's not as good as people may think he is.
Which is crazy to think Tommy Fury was considered a prospect. Maybe he still is.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's just crazy to think Jake Paul in like what 3-4 years has literally probably equalized to Tommy's level.
Yeah, that's mental. And because the thing is, something people don't mention with Tommy Fury as well is he's got a good amateur background. As well, it wasn't just a good professional background. He was like a 2-time UK champion in the amateurs. So he realistically, on paper, you take both these fighters and their records. It should be Tommy Kier favorite. He should be able to walk through Jake, but it's just not like that at all.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy. Yeah, because I don't think Tommy turned pro in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, it was 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because it feels like Tommy Fury's been a professional boxer for so many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you think Jake Paul how do you think Jake Paul visualizes this fight going?
I think that I think the way Jake sees this fight is he sees this as the chance to maybe get some boxing purists on side. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's trying to be yiked. We know Jake doesn't want to be yiked, but I think Jake's just wanted to get the respect, and this is his chance to do that. So I feel like he's going into this fight thinking, all right, if I beat Tommy Fury, not only will I gain the respect from some boxing purists, but I'll also be able to move on to a bigger fight, maybe a Carl Froch or someone like that.
I think that will happen.
Do you reckon that will happen?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jake wants to jump into the deep end that early, but you never know. He's a madman.
Do you think this is going off topic of Tommy and Jake? But let's just for a quick minute. Do you think if that fight was to happen, do you think Jake would win?
No, I think Froch wins. I know people are talking about Froch's age and everything, but he's kept himself in relatively good shape. He's active, and it was only a few years ago he retired. It wasn't like too long ago, whatever.
Yeah, so. I think he would win, but if Jake did win, he would definitely end up probably somehow getting a shot at a belt.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, his stock would have just shot up.
Well, apparently, if Jake wins, he's going on the rankings for the WBC, I think.
Yeah. And to be honest, I can't really complain at that. I mean, I don't like Jake, but he's what he's done, beating Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah,
and now Tommy Fury,
which was crazy.
Yeah, that was mental. That. So Jake deserves it.
Well, that is true. Do you think with Tommy? Do you think Tommy, in a sense, just gets annoyed at the fact Jake is being compared to being able to beat him, even though he's done all this training?
Yeah, I do feel like that gets to Tommy, because the way Tommy talks about Jake and he mocks him so much. I mean, there was that video where the kid was hitting his hand and everything, and Tommy says, "Oh yeah, I think he could beat Jake Paul." So Tommy Fury doesn't rate Jake highly, so I do think it gets in his head, him being a Fury, and people saying he can't beat Jake Paul. It's a mental one, but I do think that will get to him a little bit.
I agree. I'm not comparing Jake. No, I'm not comparing Tommy to Tyson here. But like, if we look back to Tyson, some of his old fights, some of them weren't good. They would go the distance. He could have finished certain people, but he didn't. Do you think because Tyson was able to, after a certain point, evolve and get better, do you think Tommy, even though he has had some bad fights, obviously he's had good fights, but do you think he might bridge the gap to becoming better with a challenge like Jake Paul?
I think this is the fight. If he goes out there, makes a statement, and gets Jake out of there in the first, we'll say 3 rounds, then I think he'll be better than, as crazy as it might sound, because Jake is a YouTuber. I think that will prove that he's better than some people think, because I genuinely believe Jake is probably Tommy Fury's hardest opponent.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think if Tommy goes out there, makes a statement, gets him out of in 3 rounds, I think Tommy can then go on. And the thing is, this Jake fight, on a mental sense as well.
Yeah.
When Tommy's been having his last few fights, Jake has been the fight on his mind. So just getting that mental buzz out of his mind, I feel like then he can move forward with his career.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he needs to get Jake Paul demolished.
Yeah.
The question is, will he be able to do it?
I don't think so.
Let's get your prediction, because obviously you've got a different opinion to mine.
Yeah, right. My prediction, I have gone with Jake Paul, round 6.
Round 6.
Yep. Okay, I think Tommy's going to be aggressive in the early rounds. And I don't think he'll be able to get Jake out of there. Then he'll gas himself out a bit, and we've seen that left hand, as you mentioned earlier, that left hand from Tommy's going to come down, and I reckon he'll walk onto a shot from Jake. Jake's got that good right hand we saw against Tyron Woodley, and I reckon that's lights out.
You can't say that, bro. We've got to have hope Tommy Fury wins.
Yeah. Well, I want Tommy to win, but I just think...
I know what you mean.
I just think Jake's...
That does make the most sense. I do think, however, that Tommy Fury is going to go in, and fingers crossed he's going to blast him out in the first or second round. Because
please.
Because it does sound crazy, because I know it plays in the Jake's game plan, because that's probably what Jake wants. But I think if Tommy goes in and does try box, does try to play it for 8 rounds, I just think he is going to get caught. And like we've seen in the Tyron Woodley fight, no one really pressurizes Jake right from the first bell. And I feel like that
No.
might actually get to his head a little bit. I'm not saying he'll freak out, forget the game plan, but it might be enough to make him think, what have I actually done? Because
Yeah,
we've seen him
that is a
get
good point.
pressurized. What happened with Tyrone Woodley pretty much sent him through the ropes. And he was barely
Yeah, I
throwing.
mean that is a fair point. I think that could definitely play a factor, but I just feel like I think Tommy is it's just that left hand that comes down too much for my liking, and I think eventually he's going to walk onto one.
He might.
Um,
That is a possibility.
yeah, I mean
Do
I
you
want
think
Tommy to win, but
Let me get your opinion on this. Do you think Tommy Fury has a better chance at trying to make it go the distance, or do you think he has a better chance at winning if he tries to get him out early?
I think he has a better chance of winning by a decision. I think if he because again we spoke about this earlier. I think that jab it's an awkward jab. It's a very difficult jab to get past. If he can jab and move the whole night, throw in a couple of straight rights in there, keep Jake at distance, then he can win by a comfortable decision. If he goes for it too early, he can gas himself out and get caught.
That is also true, but do you think that is true? That's the tough thing about this fight. It is like you think about all the possibilities, what can happen, but then you think, oh my God, it's just going to be a brilliant fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fireworks. I'm looking forward to it.
But Jake Paul, in a sense, is kind of good for boxing because even Carl Frampton tweeted he walks down the street the other day and all these old grannies, all these mums were asking him about Jake Paul. So it does bring, some like, even though sometimes it's not good because with influencers, sometimes it can be cringy, or with Ryan Taylor when he does headbutts, it just makes boxing look like a bad sport. But with
Yeah.
Jake, he's got the bullying foundation when he helps kids who've been bullied through boxing. He does actually do a lot of good for boxing. Like a lot of people give him hate, and I don't really know why in a sense, because yeah, he does talk shit, but that's what he does to get money.
Yeah. No, I think influencers as a whole, for the most part, I think they're all good for boxing in the sense they're bringing new lives to the sport. It's the most common debate. But with Jake Paul, especially, the thing you've got to look at with him is he's actually taking time to learn the craft. He's dedicated. He's constantly in that gym.
Yeah.
Boxing is his pure focus. So I think he's done wonders for the sport of boxing.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
often hate him, you got to respect him.
And it is crazy to see what he's accomplished in 4 years. It just makes you think all these other prospects, some of them might be lacking in the sense of they don't really want it. Like they do have the talent, but they might be going out partying, they might be going out on holidays with their mates all the time. But 4 years of Jake Paul just thinking boxing, boxing. It's crazy what that can do.
Yeah. And he's dedicated and he's got a bit of natural talent there as well. So he's picked up very quickly, to be fair to him. And he would beat a lot of pro boxers, I could see. Like a lot of the up and coming pro boxers, Jake Paul would beat. So you got to give him the respect, man.
Do you think Jake Paul's going to come out and try and knock him out?
I think as the 8 rounds go on, he will. I think first few rounds he'll start counter punching and try to get Tommy gas himself out. And then when Tommy's gassed and running out of breath and everything, I think that's when Jake's going to put the pressure on.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope not, man.
I'm not trying to be biased,
not.
guys, but come on. Tommy Fury needs to do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we're not biased at all, but we just don't like Jake. Come on.
What punch do you think, if Jake Paul, do you think it'd be that overhand right? If Jake was to knock him out,
right. Yeah. I think it'll be a jab overhand right. It's the money punch for Jake.
What about Tommy?
Tommy, I can see Tommy doing it with a right uppercut. He's got a nice uppercut.
I was going to say, I see it being an uppercut if Tommy does knock him out.
Yeah. And something as well, I think, with Jake is when he's doing head movement and stuff, I think he is prone to duck under a bit too low sometimes. So
yeah,
it could, that Jake or Tommy will be looking for the uppercut all night.
Tommy as well, I think he could hit him with a good overhand right, because when Jake Paul does throw that overhand right, sometimes we've seen it's like his hands here, but his body. I feel like if you step back, if you step back a bit, you could perfectly land a tempo shot.
Yeah, 100%. He overcommits to it sometimes. That's the problem, Jake.
Yeah,
And
he overextends sometimes. Yeah.
yeah. So if Tommy is smart enough and he has that boxing knowledge in him and he can recognize that, then he should win this fight.
Yeah, I think a big asset for Tommy, I think, in my opinion, should be footwork because he's been doing boxing for so long. Surely he would be able to use enough footwork just to avoid certain punches situations.
100%, yeah. Again, if his mindset's clear and the pressure's not got to him on fight night, then he should be able to. All of this stuff should be able to work. He should be able to know all of this, and he should be able to use his footwork to get in and out. Should be able to use his jab. Should be able to counter punch well, whatever. But it's just that, can he handle that pressure? I mean,
how do you think he will
it's
handle?
a big question.
How do you think he will try to handle the pressure? What do you think he will try and do? Maybe the headphones.
Yeah, yeah. I think he'll just try, react, see it as another fight, see it as a. He'll try and look at it like it's just another one of these fights that he's had with some of these journeymen he's fought. I think that's what he'll try and do. But then when he's walking to that ring and seeing the atmosphere, seeing the crowd, I think that's when it might play a factor.
Oh yeah, I think we're definitely going to tell when he walks out if he's in the zone or if he's ready to run off.
Yeah.
Like it's not certain he'll show up yet.
No.
It might get a fight night and he's like, "What have I done?"
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a telltale when Jake lands that first solid punch. How is Tommy going to react? Because Tommy might think, "Oh my god."
Yeah. No, that's the thing with this fight. This fight's really going to show how both men can handle this and how good both men are.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for Tommy boxing wise, but mindset wise, and his ability to overcome the odds and everything.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing what really makes me kind of doubt Tommy is that Jordan fight. You remember that ginger guy?
Yeah.
Fought? Yeah. Because in that he landed some brutal overhand rights on Tommy Fury.
Yeah. That's the thing. Defensively, he's poor. I hope he's worked on it since then. Because you could even make a case that ginger guy beat him. Like there were so many people on Twitter saying,
yeah, and that guy was a joiner.
Yeah.
If you were Tommy Fury's coach, what would you try? Like, obviously, he's had some time. What would be the three main things you would try and fix with Tommy?
So defensively, first of all, I'll try and fix that immediately. His work up close. I feel like his work up close is a bit sloppy at times.
Yeah,
and probably his head movement. His head movement's odd. It's awkward, but
bizarre.
Yeah, that's not the most effective. So yeah. I'd work on his head movement.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
With Jake Paul, is there anything you would change for Jake Paul, or do you think Jake Paul is just perfect going in this fight?
With Jake, I'd like to see Jake throw more combinations. I think that is one thing I'd like to see. I feel like the jab right is he relies on that a bit too much at times. So I'd like to see more combinations, more body shots.
Yeah.
And then again, footwork for Jake as well. I think he needs to work on that.
Well, I think Jake is definitely going to try and use those body shots because Tommy's big, and we know the bigger the muscles, the more oxygen they need.
Yeah, he's a heavy guy. I mean, he's got a lot of muscle in Tommy, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you remember Logan Paul in the first KSI fight? He did okay for 2 rounds, and then it was just, he was gassed.
Yeah, he was done. He was yearning on the ropes after that. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, and this is Tommy's first 10-round fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is it Jake's? Wait, yeah. Yeah, I think it might be Jake's as well, actually.
Yeah, Jake went 8 with Anderson Silva, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So it's both guys' first 10-round fight.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the advantage with the 10-round fight?
I think it depends how the fight pans out early. If Tommy goes aggressive, how we think it will happen, then I think it benefits Jake. But if Tommy fights how he should fight, it will benefit Tommy.
Oh, it's scary because I just think the longer it goes, the more likelihood Tommy actually might not win, because I think the longer it goes, Jake will definitely just break Tommy down.
Yeah.
Because we've seen Tommy get hit by people he shouldn't be getting hit by.
100%, yeah.
And Jake really wants to win. Like, this is the number one guy Tommy's faced that really wants to win.
Yeah. So it's a worrying fight. It could really go either way. I mean, it's exciting. This is a 50-50 fight at its finest.
Oh yeah, it's going to be amazing. Guys, you don't want to illegally watch this one. Get the pay-per-view now.
Yeah, the pay-per-view, yeah. It's a good undercard as well, to be fair.
Yeah, one more question I've got about Jake Paul for you.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, Jake Paul is known for that overhand right, but do you think going in this fight, Jake is going to assume Tommy is going to think that? Do you think we might see Jake feint a right hand, but throw something different?
I think he might try it a few times. He'll test it out early, and if he has success with it, he'll continue it, whatever. But I do think the main weapon for Jake is that overhand right. So I reckon that will be the main plan.
It is a brutal punch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Woodley got flattened with it. Ashgren, I mean.
But you're forgetting Woodley. That fight was rigged.
Oh God! Don't even start with that.
Yeah, everyone. I literally had comments. I made a video about Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, and I literally had someone comment saying the fight will be rigged. No matter what fight Jake Paul's gonna have, it's rigged.
Yeah, that always happens. That is how it goes, right? With Woodley on Anderson Silva, everyone always downplays them and saying like, "Oh, it was because Anderson Silva's old and everything, or Anderson Silva's not a boxer." But before the fight, they were all saying like, "Oh, Anderson Silva's going to walk through Jake here. Jake's best boy." It's always how it goes.
What do you make as well of Tommy Fury not showing up to the press conference?
Did he give a reason behind that? He said he was training, didn't he? He was focused on training.
There's been 2 he's missed, hasn't there?
Yeah. So I mean, it was worrying the first time I felt because you kind of felt like, okay, if he's not showing up to the press conference, he might not show up to the fight. But I mean, we're 5 days away now, so
4, I think maybe 4.
4. It's because it's the 26th, isn't it?
Oh wait, no, maybe it is 5. Yeah, it's technically 5. I think.
Yeah, because
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, no, because it's happening on Sunday, isn't it? Not on Saturday. Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
it's going to be late, ain't it? Or is it early UK time?
I think it's early because
maybe it's Dubai. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to think because it was Saudi Arabia. So yeah, Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua was quite early over here, so I imagine it'll be the
same. So, if Tommy Fury loses, what do you expect him to do after the fight?
He's got to retire, surely.
Yeah, I don't see him continuing boxing. No way.
No, if he loses to Jake Paul, he's done. Like, you can't box again.
It's not even one of those fights. If he loses, you're like, oh, credit to him. He can come back stronger. No, if he loses to Jake Paul, he's definitely never getting a belt.
No, 100%. Yeah, if he uses a Jake Paul, he's a bum, and it's as simple as that, isn't it? Like,
it's a win-win for Jake because if Jake wins, I feel like everyone. No, if Jake loses, I mean, everyone's just going to say anyway. Well, he is a YouTuber. He's been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah, Jake's got everything to win.
Do you think if Jake loses, do you think there'll be a rematch? Is there a rematch in place? Do you know?
I think there is a rematch clause. Yeah. Okay. It would make sense for there to be because Jake's A side, so I imagine there is. And yeah, I do think there could be it. I think if Tommy gets it done early, then I don't think there'll be a rematch. But if it's a close fight, I think Jake will activate it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as well how Jake would handle the loss.
Yeah.
I think he would actually be kind of respectful, though, because with Jake, I think in the sense, obviously he says he wants to fight Canelo, all this stuff, and I don't doubt he actually believes that will happen. I don't doubt it. But I think as well, like, he's just trying to see how far he can go in boxing, so it doesn't really matter who he loses against, because in reality, he never should have beat Tyron Woodley or Anderson Silva.
Yeah. That's the thing. We criticize Jake all we want, but and I know people like Nate Robson and Ben Askren weren't good, but realistically, on paper, Jake Paul shouldn't be beating people like that.
Yeah,
Nate Robson was an athlete. Ben Askren was a fighter. I mean,
yeah.
he's beating the odds.
It's just a shame Ben Askren had no hands.
No, no, Ben Askren was awful.
I genuinely thought, what did you think for the Ben Askren fight? Did you think Ben Askren would win that fight, or did you have Jake win?
I had Jake winning. I thought Jake would win because mainly because of the Askren, no punches sort of thing. But I just felt I saw some things in, I think it was the open workout. I saw some things in Askren's game that I thought, like, Jake's going to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and he definitely, most certainly did. do you think as well, Tommy Fury as well didn't go to the press conference because do you think with nerves, do you think he was trying to minimize how much he actually took in from this experience?
Yeah, I do think that was part of it. I think he doesn't want to add any more pressure than there already is. And he doesn't want to give Jake the chance to get into his head, which is smart, to be fair. So,
yeah, I feel like Jake got in his head years ago.
yeah.
It's kind of crazy because this all actually started with Tyson Fury tweeting that Jake should fight Tommy.
Yeah.
And then here we are. Is this the third time it was scheduled to happen?
Yep, third time.
Yeah, and we're here.
Yeah, mental 50 now. Hopefully it actually happens.
Who do you think it would have favored if this fight happened 2 years ago?
Probably Tommy, because Jake hadn't had that Anderson Silva fight, did he? And I feel like Jake can yawn a yacht from that fight.
Yeah, especially the two Tyrone Woodley fights and the Anderson Silva fight has gave him a massive, like, it's like a load of information now he can go back and learn, and then his coaches are going to pick up what's he bad at, what's he good at.
Yeah, 100%.
But
Anderson Silva's an experienced guy.
The first professional boxer.
Yeah, it is. Here we go. We got to see how he does against a pro boxer.
If Jake wins, credit to Jake. If Jake loses, at the same time, credit to Jake.
100%, yeah.
Tommy Fury, if he wins, credit to Tommy Fury. If he loses, we're never going to see him again.
Yeah, that's literally how it goes.
He is going to deactivate Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, it's all or nothing for Tommy now. Like,
yeah, the pressure, that must be an insane feeling.
Yeah, it's mental.
Going into a fight with who he considers a YouTuber who can't box, but if you lose, that is it.
Yeah, that's it, man. It is literally all or nothing.
Do you think as well, quickly, do you think Tommy does have a chin? Do you think he will be able to take certain shots?
I mean, the thing is, we've not really seen Tommy's chin tested, but I feel like he might do because he's got that amateur background and everything. Whether he's had a lot of amateur fights. Surely he's been tested in chin in one of those, or in sparring, something like that.
Yeah, or something is horribly wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was just wondering because John Fury, we've seen he got knocked out a few times. So I was just wondering I wonder if Tommy, when he does take one of those shots, if he will be able to take it.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting factor as well.
If Jake wins early, it is going to be crazy.
100%. Social media will just break. Like,
where do you think Jake wins? Who do you think he fights next? Do you think he will try and get Carl Froch?
I can't see him taking that Froch fight. I think he's kind of all talk on that. I think maybe Nate Diaz.
I think he will revert back to MMA fighters as well.
Yeah, I think that Nate Diaz beef's been too young to not happen.
With professional boxers, it is a win-lose situation, but then I feel like if he fights MMA fighters, he knows he's most certainly going to win, and he still gets money and fame.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's good experience, isn't it? Like, Nate Diaz is a tough guy, so
yeah. And before we wrap up, just give us your final quick 1 minute prediction of who you think will win.
Jake Paul, round 6 knockout. I reckon Tommy gasses himself out early. Jake Paul capitalizes.
All right, and I'm gonna go with Tommy Fury before round 4.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I'm going with. Tommy Fury before round 4. I think the longer it goes, the worse it is for Tommy. But we're going to find out Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see who's closer who to the right prediction, man. Like,
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what happens. We might have to come back. Episode 2 might have to be what happens with Tommy and Jake.
yep, we'll have to break that down, man.
Monday, we're going to have to get on, record another episode.
Yeah.
Guys, and the videos are going to come out every Friday, Monday. We've already planned it.
Yep, there's been a lot of planning going into this. We've worked hard to make this happen, so.
Yeah, and also thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. We both appreciate it. Hopefully this year it's going to be a great year for this channel.
Yep, hopefully, man. We're going to push this as hard as we can, like.
Yeah, and check out the TheFrostZone. Link will be in description, and also check out my channel. Link will also be in description.
Yep, check out MikeyPlays as well. Yep. Cheers for the shout out.
That's all right, man. Subscribe to him. He's nearly at 100 subscribers. So get over to his channel, subscribe, share it on Twitter, share it with your mum, share it with anyone you can.
Yeah, please do.
And also for me, definitely share it.
Yeah, maybe at 600. So go sub to Mikey.
Thanks. But guys, that is it for the first episode.